Good morning, good afternoon and good evening. I'm Matt and welcome to this live unboxing of the Nano Talon. Now, give you a quick heads up, I will have the iPad running here in the background, which I'm just getting logged in. So if you are joining in with the live version, you can see the comments going on the bottom of the screen. I'm just checking over there to make sure that's coming out all right. If you can let us know if the audio is nice and loud and clear, that would be fantastic. So what have we got in store for you? I've got a little spoiler alert. This one here is actually a different model, and this is the Orbit. And we're going to be having a shootout between the Zoe HD Orbit and also the Sonic model AR Stealthwing. Now, it may look like that those two models are made by two different manufacturers. Actually, it's the same manufacturer. So we'll take a look at that one at a later date. So we'll move that one out of the way. Now, today's topic for you is going to be the Nano Talon. Now, it's literally just been arrived this morning. All I've done is take the sticky labels off the top of the box. And I have actually seen some other photographs of this model because somebody else did get theirs delivered yesterday and was kind enough not to post it in the Facebook group. But he did send me loads and loads of photos and it does look really, really well built. So we'll be taking a look at the Nano Talon. And the reason why I'm curious about this is because I'm sure I'm like you, that for a long period of time, we've always said is that we can't believe that XUAV have not been released a micro version of the Mini Talon. And those of you which don't know what the Mini Talon is, in the top right hand corner, if you click on the little eye icon, there's I'll give you the overview to my Mini Talon, and it's an absolute corking model for just 35 quid, which will say 40 some dollars. Absolutely brilliant model. But they're big and bulky, and there seems to be like a general theme for what's going on this year, which is 2017, by the way, which is that smaller models, so micro and nano models, really do seem to be taken off. And that's what I'm really curious about this one. And obviously, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all of you which are on the live chat. And I will be looking for your questions and comments. Now, there is one very important note which I need to make, which is that this model was bought out of my own money. Okay, I feel that's really, really important to stress. This was not a freebie for review. It actually was bought out of my own money, and as such, I feel that I can give you an unbiased review. And I'm personally really looking forward to this one because I've had great fun with, say, the Micro Skyhunter and similar models of the same size. So fingers crossed, this one's going to be a corker. But as always, and I'm sure many of you are already aware of this, we always hold off final judgment until we get the model up and flying in the sky. So make sure, if you're not already subscribed, down underneath this video where it says Matt Ogborn, I'm Matt by the way, press the subscribe button and you'll be notified the second the flight footage goes out for this model. And I'm just keeping an eye on the chat as well, seems to be working, happy days. Now, daft note is that if you have any questions about this model, please just ask. You can either do that in the live chat, which you can see which is going on right now, which should be on the right-hand side of your screen, or if you're watching the recorded version, down underneath this video in the comments section. So that's enough of the chat. Let's get on and go and get this one opened. Now, we've got to face it. This model was, for all intents and purposes, $99.99 I think I paid for it. So it's a $100 model, which is £74 in today's money. If you're in the United Kingdom of windiness out there at the moment. So it's not a cheap model. And also, they don't do a kit version. You have to get the version which has got a stabilizer in it and it comes with a motor. It's like a plug and play kit. And to be personally honest, I don't like plug and play kits, is because I would rather put my own motors, ESCs and other components in the actual kit itself. But I do know this one does come with a stabilizer, so it is going to be a little bit curious to see what we actually get in the box itself. So let's carry on and move on. Again, just making sure the streaming's going okay. And we'll get that one opened. It does look like, right, one thing which has been really annoying me, and give you a heads up, I did buy this one from Banggood. I had 3, maybe 4 models in a row, which were absolutely smashed to pieces. And unfortunate, and again, it was just, whatever seemed to turn up here got mullered by the post office or the EMS, which turns out to be Parcel Force here in the United Kingdom. And yeah, Really, really frustrating. But it's actually really good to see they've actually been and double boxed the box inside. So that's classed as happy days. So let's get this one open and see if we can get in there and see what's going on. Ow. Ow, that hurt. And by the way, that really did just hurt. So how I didn't swear. Goodness knows. Right. Let's get in there and see what's going on. And by the way, this is being recorded live, so we leave all mistakes in. That finger really is hurting now. I managed to pull my fingernail back, so ow. That's it is what it is. I can't change it, so we'll carry on and get ourselves in there. Right, how did we get in here? They really have to take this box up really well, and apologies if it's banging around on the microphone. There's not much which I can do about that, I'm afraid. So let's scroll up. Cool, right, we're in like sin. Let's see what we get for the wings. Ooh, both wings in there. Hey, that's nice. I tell you what, I'm going to come around to the camera and so that you can have a look at these parts as we get them. Oh, that is nice. They've got proper hinged wings on them. So let me just see if you can see that on there. I don't know if you can see this hinge, but you can probably hear it. That is a properly hinged wing. If I turn that round on there so you can see, that's more than what I expected. That's not like your typical foam wing. And also, while we're able to have a quick look at the attachments on the end as well. So we've got a clip on there. I already know that's for the, that one there's for the actual surface. So if I twist that piece, you'll see the surface is moving in time with that as well. I know that's because of the mechanism which we've got. The moulding is absolutely fantastic. It's not rinsed in mould release, and apparently there is a CG in the box. Happy days. So that's a bit unexpected. It was came out much better. The quality on it is miles better than what I was expecting. Right, so the wings are pretty cool. Decent bubble pack wrapping which we get in the box. Let's get into the fuselage and we'll knock it together to see how big this model really is, because it's one thing saying, and again, it's nice to see they've actually got some decent packaging in here. In the last couple of models which I've had, the packaging has been diabolical, and this one's right up there for decent quality packaging. I tell you what, when I come around to the camera, I'll have a quick look so you can see what's going on here with the fuselage. And so I'll just run this across the screen. So there's the fuselage, and give you like size of my hand in comparison. It is a fair old size, to say the least. We have a look around on the nose, nice little pod in there so we can get our FPV camera mounted up. There is an air scoop on the bottom, there is this little tray. Decent magnets in there, decent little tray in there for any other kit which you want to get down there. Probably not the best place to put a flight controller down there, but we'll have a look at that very shortly. Having a nose in there, I'm guessing that's where the mechanism, they've got a plastic skid on the tail, we've got plastic plates on here. I'm wondering what parts actually come off. We'll go gentle with it. Might be a twist switch on the, oh, blooming heck. Look at the size of that fuselage. Absolutely monstrous, and a really nice little plastic clip on the top. There's no chance that's going to fall off. And if we have a look down there for the FPV camera mount, is that, yeah, that's the Swift Mini. Looks like it's going to be an ideal fit for that front of that camera. Nice little tray. It's a double tray which they've got inside of there. And I wonder how this lid section comes off. I do need to go a little bit careful with, there we go. So the top lid's come off, and I was wondering what the setup on this one was going to be. It was a huge curiosity of mine. So we do have a single servo which moves these bars here, which then go on and move our ailerons. So it's a single servo for the ailerons. So it looks like a little 9-gram one, and we've got a single servo back here as well, which does the elevator. Now do note this model in its current configuration will only do ailerons with the front servo and an elevator on the back, so you don't have rudder on there or independent control of the ailerons itself. The ESC does look a little bit measly, to be honest. I think they've just, I don't know how well you can see that in there. We move that right up. It does look like a absolutely measly ESC, which they've been included, aka it looks like a quad ESC, And to be honest, I don't really like quad ESCs and model airplanes, but mainly because they don't actually have heat shrink. And then if we look up there, so you can see what's going on just there, is that we've got a little flight controller in there. We've got throttle out, aileron left, aileron right, which I'm guessing they've wired up for the elevator. And then we've got some RC inputs. Now, I knew there's no actual writing on the board itself, and oh, actually there is. We've got aileron in, elevator and throttle, and mode in as well. So it looks like we can change the mode of the gyro. Now that is a gyro to give this model stabilization. Whether I end up carrying on and using this is a very good question. I actually think longer term I will probably go on and change that to using iNav, because I reckon we can fit a nice, a little flight controller board in there. That would go in there really, really well. And those of you wondering what I just did to my finger, don't know if you can see that, but I can tell you that finger is absolutely killing me at the moment. Oops a daisy. Hey ho, and that centre section doesn't look completely useless. The plywood frame is actually going in there to aid with the rigidity of the wing. I was very concerned about that, but it doesn't look like my concerns are actually founded. I am just going to grab a 2200 4S. Well, no, let's grab a 2200 milliampere 3S, so a standard 2200 milliampere 3S pack. And we'll stick that up in the nose and see how well that fits. Now, looking at this, you could fit in a much, much larger pack. And it comes with an XT60 connector as well, so no resoldering required. And apologies, I've just seen the iPad's closed down. So remember, if you have any questions about this model, please just ask. And there we go. So yeah, easily fit a 2200 3S pack in the front of it. That's classed as happy days. Gonna move that one out of the way. The little motor on the back is a ZOHD. It's a 2204, so very small to be honest. And looks like a royal pain in the rear to actually change to a different one. A little 2204 1870 kV, so I'm guessing they're going to have a 6, maybe 7 inch prop on the back of this. We will find out in a moment in the parts accessories which we get. So let's have a look what else we get in the bag. Let's move the box up out of the way, and let's go and take a quick nose. There we go. So yeah, apologies, normally Friday is a flying day here, but the weather is going to be absolute shocking here this afternoon, so looks like we're going flying tomorrow instead. So let's get these little wings out. Now it is a VTOL, so like the original, I say the original Mini Talon or the Talon, that wasn't even the original. The XUAV Talon and Mini Talon were actually a copy of another model as well, so it looks like someone's gone on and copied it and made a nano version, which I'm actually glad they really did. The VTOL itself, no servos mounted in there, tiny little rods and really nice hinges. Again, I'm just going to come round to the camera so you can see this. So there we go. Let's take a look at that. Again, it's a bit awkward because the camera's over there. And so look, it's really nicely hinged in there. That is such a nice touch. That's not the kind of hinging mechanism which we're used to on these cheaper models. And again, this model wasn't cheap by any stretch of the imagination, and it looks like, as far as value for money, as far as the quality is, it's right up there. And it's got a little magnet down in there, so it does look like we can take this off for transport. Personally, I've never had an issue with the the VTOLs on these, or even on the bigger one at all. So I'm just going to see if I can nose that in there. That goes in there nice and safely. It's quite a... the two magnets must join together. So let's see if we can get those in there. Pop that. Yeah, that VTOL's not coming apart anytime soon. For the propeller, we actually get a 6x3 propeller, which is very, very peculiar. Let's go and see if we can just twist that on now so we can at least get an idea of what it's going to look like. And it goes on that way round. So I'll just quickly tighten that one up. What I did notice is the actual bar, the shaft which comes out on that motor isn't very deep. It's only probably about 1 centimetre. So I am really dubious on that motor long term. I strongly suspect that I will end up changing that for something else, probably a bigger and a lower KV motor. I think, what was the KV on this one? 1870. Again, those of you which are looking for longer flight times, the easiest thing which you can do is actually reduce the size of the KV of the motor and put a larger prop on there. One thing which you do need to be aware of is that anything more than a 6-inch prop is going to scuff the ground on the bottom, so just be aware of that. So if you do move to a 7-inch propeller, is that it will drag the ground on the bottom, which is a bit refreshing on there. So I'm just going to pause for a moment to have a look at your comments, and also, frankly, to have a quick slurp. Right, so brilliant. The chat has actually been caught up, so apologies if I wasn't answering your questions there. ET, so English Turbine, says, bigger than I thought it would be, but it's way too expensive. We need the bare airframe. ET, I totally agree with you. This was $100, and to be frankly honest, I would have quite happily been paid less for no motor, no servos, and a stabilizer, which I frankly probably won't ever use. Okay, so I am totally with you. I don't know what value you can put on a motor, a couple of ESCs, generic ESCs, and a stabilizer. I genuinely don't know. So, yeah, I would really look forward. Again, we don't know if they're going to do it, but I personally suggest, and again, I would have normally just bought a kit version and put my own components in them. But unfortunately, it just comes as a plug-and-play kit. There is a far more expensive one, which does come with a camera and a video transmitter, but it's $100 more, whereas I think a Mini Runcam Swift, for example, and an Eachine 526 video transmitter and a decent antenna, that will cover the bases and come to about $50 tops, like all in. So yeah, very, very curious comment on there. Lee says, might even fit a pair of splatteries in there, so I assume you 2 batteries. Yes, you could realistically fit two 2200 3S packs in that nose. I am going to go and see, and apologies, on the topic of batteries, up in my main big Mini Talon, we normally run, and this will definitely make it nose heavy, so let's just use this as a test, is that, I'll see if I can squeeze this in the other way. Yeah, if you're up for trimming a bit of foam, you will fit one of those great big 5200 4S packs in there, but just be aware that will make it grossly heavy and ridiculously nose heavy. Yeah, there is a fair old sized battery bay in there. Again, keeping on with your comments, again, you can see the chat which has been going on. Joe says, a single servo. Now, Joe, I was thinking about this as well. Like, why have they only done a single servo? But when you see the mechanism which they've got, because, let me grab the wings, is that the mechanism which they've got is a square tube to move the actual surfaces themselves. Now, I was thinking about this, is that number one, that does cut down on the weight. So let's go to the positive side here. It does reduce weight. Okay, so those of you which are looking to do some distance with this model, that's classed as happy days because you're saving 2 servos, extra wiring, and what weight you save there you can make up in battery, but and I know we're only talking about a few grams, but if you are doing distance, a few grams really does make a difference. The other thing is that this wing does have enough depth in it. If I put it around so you can see it like that, it does have enough depth in there so that if you wanted to at a later date, you could mount a servo out on the wing itself and then go for independent control. So yeah, I was thinking about that last night. Single servo is not the end of the world. It is what it is, so we'll see how it flies. And again, we'll start off with the basic configuration, and then if I feel that it needs some tweaks, definitely like the motor, and I don't like the ESC, to be brutally honest, it's a quad ESC, is that I'll probably make a few tweaks to it, and again, I'll keep you updated on YouTube. Let's have a quick look. So Joe, yes, it is a 2 servo total. So 1 servo in the center does the ailerons, and 1 servo at the back has 2 rods coming out down the back, and then we'll do both surfaces up and down. And again, the hinge mechanism is actually really, really nice. I really like the hinges both on the wings and on there as well. Really, really nice. Somebody mentioned, again, apologies, I just saw the comment and it skipped past the screen. Lee says, plenty of room underneath for a better ESC. Yeah, totally. That is where I would house the ESC, up underneath. Those of you which may be looking for a different camera perspective, maybe you can make a down-facing camera, so maybe you get the GoPro and point it downwards. So I don't know, if you're looking at a tiny little model for surveying, you could use that hatch for it. That would be an obvious use for that. You could also maybe mount a servo up there and then have that on the Bushmill, the Hobby King Bushmill, hinge that on there so you could drop things out at the bottom of it. Yeah. Not entirely sure what I'm going to do with that, but to be frankly honest, that's probably where the decent sized ESC is going to end up. ET says, no Tailorons, hence the dihedral in the wings. Absolutely. Rudder gives better yaw control on a VTOL. Yeah, Joe, I know some other pilots have mentioned, like on the XUAV Clouds or the Mini Talon, saying that the rudder is pretty ineffective. To be honest, I actually really like the rudder movement on both those models, especially the Clouds, is that it will just gently bring the model around. So I will be looking, again, if I feel that it needs it, I will look to see if we can do a proper VTOL configuration where we have both rudder and elevator. And again, there's not much meat in those rear fins to put a servo, so it'd have to be a smaller servo. So definitely down, and I'm looking at that. Yeah, really, we might even probably want to mount it up here on the top of the fuselage and then have the two control horns going up on that way. I probably wouldn't put a servo like on the Mini Talon, for example, in the rear fin. It's just too thin, so maybe mounting up here and digging into the top plate and then having separate servos that way, that would probably be okay. Or there is enough room, and again, I don't know how well you're going to see that inside of there. There is enough room to put a second servo in the gap with the rear one. So yeah, curiosities, Joe. So I think we'll take it as face value as it is right now, and then we'll look to make any tweaks later on. Let's have a quick look. Andrew B. So thank you, Andrew B. And you know why. Screw hole on the top to change the motor. I did wonder about that. There is a little tiny screw hole. I'll tell you what, have I got a screwdriver here? I do. Let's go and take this apart, because I'm going to be frankly honest, I really don't like that motor. I really don't. It's one of those things about buying a plug and fly kit. You get given components which are maybe less than desirable. And I've been and dropped that screw down. So I am just going to go and grab a magnet quickly. Let's grab a couple. See if I can fish that out. Grab that there. Tell you what, while I'm doing that, screw on the top motor. Howdy Leo, by the way. How is the wigglosity of those tail fins? I don't know. I'll have a look in a moment. So Alan, yeah, I'm following on with your comment there about the see if we can get these two fins out and see how we get this motor. There is a screw hole. I wonder. Ah, hello. Ah, look. That screw holds that motor in. It's just a little clamping mechanism, which to be honest is all you really need because it's always pushing forwards. But that's how you change the motor. It's a single little screw, which that goes into a little plastic component on the back. How well that does long term, nobody knows. I will keep an eye on that. So that would definitely be a danger point if we were putting a bigger propeller on there. And actually changing the motor does look very, very easy because it is just down to a screw. Oh, and a big tip for you, those of you which are worried about losing a screw, just stick a magnet on your screwdriver like that. And that's how I was able to undo that and fish the screw out and get it back in easy as pie. Right, keeping on with your questions, and again, you can see the comments which are coming in at the bottom of this video. So, right, it's just scrolled all the way down. Graham Abbott says, how much import duty? I was lucky. Touch wood, I don't get stung again. No import duty on either model, which arrived this morning. So that's classed as happy days. I didn't even look to see how much they declared on it either. So a quick look. FPV Leo says, nah, the Banggood service is good. I kind of agree with you. Give them a day or so, they come back. You might, again, if you've got an issue with a model, take photographs, take a video. You've seen the videos which I post on this channel when something's broken. Just do the same, okay? And also, if you get a model which arrives and the box doesn't look great, grab your phone, stick it on the side, or get your wife or your better half, your girlfriend, or mate to record the unboxing, because then it's no discussion. That's what actually happened with the box unboxing. That's why I do multiple unboxings here of the models which I receive, just in case, because the box may look good on the outside, but it might be smashed the buggery inside, and that's not ideal. So always record your models when they arrive, just in case something is damaged. And it's really easy to just go here, Banggood support, have a look, this is what's happened, and this is me unboxing the actual item itself. So I'm not the only one that thinks it looks like an old World War II drop bomb. Yeah. Well, I tell you what, that's enough chat. Let's go and get these parts together and we'll have a look to see what it looks like. And then I also want to give you a heads up. I mentioned it at the beginning, is that I also have the Zod HD Orbit wing, which is down there, and I'll do a separate video on that one. And I also have the Sonic Model AR Stealth wing as well. And we're going to do a side-by-side comparison to those, because those two are flying wings, and they're obviously on the back of the success of the Reptile S800 wing. Now, again, absolute clarity, both those other two wings were bought out of my own money as well. We're going to have a head-to-head shootout on those and see which one's better, and then I'll pass on as much information as I can so that you can make an informed decision on those. Also, keeping the vacuum, also just thinking about that bottom plate down there, maybe you stick your receiver down there. Maybe, including, because there's a hole in there, you could put your FPV transmitter down there out of the way. Yeah, it's a curious one what you could do with that. So anyway, let's go and get these wings on. So let's go and get this top plate back on. Again, nice little magnet. Black EPP foam. It does feel a bit flexible. And one mod, which I'm frankly thinking of right now, is that we would definitely need a little piece of sellotape just to unclip that, because I think this is maybe a little bit too flexible, and maybe a little strip of carbon fibre on the bottom of there would help make it last a little bit longer. So let's go and push that in there like so. I'm going a bit gentle with it. And again, remember, it is my own model, so I will try and do my best to look after it. So that's turning out to be a bit awkward, so let's turn it around that way so I can make sure these things go in okay. Which at the moment, they don't. Always good fun. We're in now. Nice positive click. And I will put this up on the camera so you can see it in a moment as well, so you can see what's going on. In fact, why don't I take one wing off and leave one wing on, and I'll bring it round to the camera so you can see what's going on. I'll clip in the other wing. So let's move this around here, and apologies, the audio will change because I'm stood around here now. So if we have a quick look, so I'll use the wings on there. So that's the mechanism which turns the actual the aileron surface there. We've got a retaining clip just there, and the main spar goes in and comes across. So if we have a look at that side, like so, we'll see that we've got the little black square up there, and we line that up like so, push that over, and then it clicks in, and that's not going anywhere. And then to take the wings off, I think we just push back on that, and then it will then go on and unclip. So yeah, pretty well thought out. Again, my reservations over this single servo jobby might not be a concern, to be honest. So it looks like it's pretty good. It is plastic components there, so how long these last over a long period of time, don't know. But like I said, there is plenty of meat in that wing to get a servo in there if we decide. And again, if I was to put a servo in that wing, I'd put the control horn on the top of the wing so it doesn't catch underneath. And you can also see there's a fair bit of dihedral in that wing, which does mean that it will help the model actually fly straight. So let's get back round, move the other model out of the way. Again, let's get back to your comments, and I will pause for a moment to take a quick sip of coffee. Alan says, I'm strangely liking this model. Again, I'll be brutally honest with you, with the XUAV Mini Talon, I really thought it was a bit of an ugly munter, if I'm honest, when it first arrived here. And then over a period of time of building her, it took me a while to build it. And then I actually started to really like it. And to be honest, the Mini Talon is one of the best models which I own. It has been absolutely fantastic and super cheap. That's why I'm so curious on this model, because if this model is half, and I mean only is half as good as a Mini Talon, it's going to be happy days. So let's go and get this little lid in. And yeah, you probably do want to take this lid off to fit the wings in, because it's got two little caps on top. Let's move the nose round again. Nice little positive movement in the catches themselves. And I am going to be brutally honest, I do think these little plastic pieces, which we've got on the top, probably do need a little dose of goop glue to ensure that they stay in there. Again, nice big battery bay. Definitely could fit iNav in it, especially up in that top board. For GP, again, I'm just thinking ahead, so you have to excuse me. I am actually kind of thinking you get the GPS unit up here on the top. That would be really, really simple to do. Although we would want to be careful of the wire coming out the back. So yeah, actual placement of a GPS unit, yeah, it kind of makes sense to go up on the top of here, and then maybe strip the black casing off. That, again, those of you which followed along from the iNav series, maybe get the black cable, the really thick stuff, strip that off, and then we'll allow some flexibility in the cabling. Yeah, very, very curious on that one. Again, I will end up putting iNav in it. Anyway, let's get this thing together so you can have a closer look. Twist the lid round, and I've not put that on properly because the nose was flicking up. There we go. Tiny little aqueduct on the end. Oh, what else do we get in the bag? We do get a spare propeller, and we do get some screws and a mount. Let me put that up there so you can see. There is a little mount, which I'm assuming that's where you put your FPV. Well, you could put a HD camera up here on the top as well. And there's some plastic mounts up there. To be honest, I think the little aqueduct which they've put on the top is more of like a token gesture, because I really don't think you're going to get that much air going in there. But overall, it is very diddy. I like it, to be honest. Decent sized battery capacity on there. I can't remember where the CG mark in. The CG, again, I'm pretty sure it said on the website. It is tail heavy at the moment, which is always a positive sign. I tell you what, I am just going to stick a 2200 3S in there. I'm just going to stick it in there randomly, and then we'll just see how it kicks out with this. Yeah, it's nose heavy already. Actually, no. So I've just got my thumb on the CG mark underneath, which is about a third back down the wing. And it is kind of balanced and level there. So by the time we've got an FPV camera in the nose, and maybe we've offset and put the video transmitter back down here on the underside again, I'm thinking with the antenna over here, not like just hanging down the bottom so it rips off. I'm thinking maybe so the antenna comes out here on the side. Again, you are catching me with my first thoughts at the moment. Is that maybe offset it, and that's a decent sized battery. So with an 1870 kV, it's not going to be pulling 1,000,000 amps. I do have reservations over that ESC. It's a quad ESC, remember, quadcopter ESCs. When the ESC is on the wing, you've always got lots and lots of air going over the top. That ESC which is in there is in a lovely little warm place where there's very little airflow going in there, and it is going to get toasty. So if you came the nuts off it, I would definitely suggest that you put a decent RC plane ESC in there, and maybe also think about opening up some extra ventilation to get some air inside of this model. So let me just see. And Alan says, will you be trying the flight controller? Yes, we will give the standard little flight controller a go. It looks really, really straightforward. What do we have? We had aileron input, rudder input, throttle input, and then a mode as well. So, and again, there was no instructions in the model, so we'll fumble our ways through that. And again, I'll do that offline, and then we'll see if we can get it to work. But to be brutally honest, it probably won't stay in there. And also, those of you which are maybe a little bit concerned about the little stabilizer which is in there, is that I would be brutally honest and suggest that maybe you just ignore it completely and just don't wire it in. Okay, the reason being is that this model has plenty of dihedral in it by itself, and it's going to fly straight. So if you have any doubts about the stabilizer now, like I have right now, if I was to go out and take this out for a maiden this afternoon, I'd actually not set up the stabilizer. I'd connect the servo connectors up directly to the receiver and then remove the stabilizer away from the equation and then try it afterwards. Also, on a practical point of view, because this is going to be a belly lander, what I will do is put some glass fiber tape down here on the bottom of the nose, and I might even laminate it. I don't know yet, but at a bare minimum, it will be some glass fiber tape on the bottom. Also, a massive tip for you, those of you which are maybe flying in long grass and things like that, what I will be doing on mine is just, I probably won't laminate the wings, but what I will do is just put some clear sellotape over the leading edges of the wings. And that means is that if you do hit grass or you clip a tree, for example, you won't end up with a massive dent. Even just a very thin piece of sellotape will help save the leading edge on your wing. So let's just go back to your comments on there. Let's have a quick look. I think FPV Leo says the price is okay. I'm a little bit 50-50 at the moment. Because I just don't like plug and fly models. I just don't like them. I'm sorry, I just don't like them. I would rather buy a kit and put my own components in there. That said, we always hold off final judgment on the model and the parts which we've put in there until we go and get it to fly, okay? Because it could fly absolutely fantastically well, and then I will retract my comment about the plug-and-play kit being overpriced, maybe a little bit overpriced, and it has issues with it. So we don't know those just yet. So this is why I always say hold off until we actually get her in the sky and we see what she flies like. So yeah, at the moment, but to be honest, at the moment, remember I paid $100 out of this, out of my own money. I kind of like it. It is very cute. You've got to give it its due. It does look the part. So let's have a quick look on there. Let's have a quick look. FPV Leo says, why do they keep putting quad ESCs in plug and fly airplanes? I don't know. I really wish they wouldn't. They are utter. They're not good for fixed wing models because you just don't have the airflow over the ESCs. I'm not saying they won't work. They'll be fine. But if you intend doing anything more than a couple of laps around with your mates and you're not really going to be caning it, is that a quad ESC is not the best choice. Get yourself a decent ESC, and I'll tell you what, I'll find out what the current draw of this one is, and I'll put a suggestion down in the video description for you. So yeah, and you're with me as well. And so is it Sarjax? Apologies if I've just mullied your name. Maiden. Absolutely, we will be going out and flying this one tomorrow. I will get some HD footage of both on board and hopefully live from the flight line as well. The weather does look palatable tomorrow for flying. It's not a perfect flying day by any stretch of the imagination. It looks a bit dull and there's going to be a decent amount of wind. But that said, I think it'll be a good test for this one. So all in all, before I go, I'm actually going to walk around so we can get up close and a little bit intimate with this one. So audio is going to go a bit weird because I'm stood behind the camera. So let's have a quick nose. So there's the fuselage, nice little twisty clip on the top that comes round. Let's have a quick nose inside. So you'll see, look, that's why I was saying a Runcam Swift Mini going to be perfect in there. What I'll probably do is put a little piece of plywood down there in the bottom and then mount it in that way. Nice little plywood tray in there, not into I think that's where they had the video transmitter in there. Again, I would probably not put the video transmitter down there, to be brutally honest. I think that's with the more expensive kit. Nice little component on the top. Let me just pop that back on the Lithermost so we can have a look on the outside. It does have a nice amount of dihedral in there. Scroll it round. There's the plastic support mechanism for the main spar itself. We move round to the rear of the model. Nice little hinges which are going on here. I really do like those little things on there. Again, some thought has been given. We have some plastic little skid on the back. We'll hold judgment over the motor for now, so we'll keep it as it is. Move it around the other side, again, similar layout on the opposite side. We turn it up the other way, and we have a look underneath. There's the bottom of the aileron servo. We can see the ESC wires going out the back. Nice, and again, the magnets on these are really good, so you can hear that stamping in. And again, those of you which maybe want to have a look down up underneath the undercarriage, there is quite a lot of space which can be leveraged up underneath there, and maybe you might want to cut out that top bar a little bit so that you could fit a larger battery in there. Let's move that round, and I'll tell you what, let's go and get this lid off. Just twist it the right way. Oh, hang on, I've just locked it on. Oh, and by the way, it does twist the right way, so when you lock it up, it's going that way, and then when you unlock it, it's going that way, so it won't cause that much drag in the sky. We lift this little lid up. Again, nice little black molded EPP foam. It's not EPO, it's too springy for EPO. And again, I'll probably put a little carbon spar up underneath the bottom of there to help with rigidity. And there's the inside. Let's have a quick run over the components. Tail servo there. Aileron servo there, which has this funny little mechanism to move these surfaces around. We do get a quad ESC. Not a big fan of quad ESCs. We have covered that quite a bit in this live session. There is a stabilizer in here. It does look pretty simple to wire up, but my biggest tip for anybody watching this, if you're unsure on the stabilizer or you've never used one before, do not use it. You can always use it at a later date, especially if you can maybe ask a more experienced pilot to give you a hand setting it up. And in the interim, what I would suggest is that you just connect your receiver to the servo outputs and just go with that route. We've got a nice XT60 connector on the end, so it's not a blooming Dean's connector. And all in all, looks pretty good. I've got no idea on what the weight is. If you're prepared to hang around for a moment, I do have the scales. We'll go and take a quick look. So let's get all these parts on, and obviously we are going to. I'll tell you what. I assume that you put the FPV mount on there, and again, you will need to add on your video transmitter, your receiver weight, and your camera weight, and of course the battery as well to this. So let's just get that again. That front lid's gonna there you go. Once you get it down, it goes down. It stays stiff, so it's in there. It's pretty good. Yeah, like it. Anyway, let's find out what the weight is a moment. So I'll press the on button. Okay, we're at 0 grams, and the weight is. Again, it's tricky because it's moving around. What if I just sit it on there like that? No, that's not going to work. It's about 260 grams-ish. And in ounces, that is about 9.1, 9.3 ounces. If that makes any sense. Apologies, I only know grams. So if I just turn it up the other way, see if that perhaps a little bit more stable. Yeah, actually it's more around about the 270 grams weight, and that's obviously before electronics which are going in there. So your FPV transmitter, your FPV camera, and a battery and a receiver. So those of you which have limits of 250 grams, yeah, this one is way over it before we've even added our own kit in there as well. So I am going to wrap up now, but before I go, I am just going to quickly check to see if you've got any questions. Remember, this is being recorded live, so my finger is still rather hurting, and to be frankly honest, I'm going to go and wash that in a moment and put a plaster on it because that's really killing. If you have any questions, and apparently just looking at the chat, everybody else saw that was 249 grams. It does get lighter if you add a battery to it as well. For it. Right. Lee says, will it fit 2 3S on the sides? Yes, it will do, Lee. And Lee, just for you, I'll tell you what, let me just go and grab. I don't think I got 2 3S's here. I know that I got 2 4S's. So these are some Zippy 2200 25C batteries, and I'm pretty sure if I pull that up out of the way, they will fit. And again, I'm not going to, because you will need to trim a bit of the foam off the back of there. So if I'm suggesting that you will fit 2 of those in there, you will definitely fit 2 3S's in there. They will fit in there, and again, you could probably get them up on their sides. You will need to trim a bit of the foam over the top to make it fit, and again, you will have a challenge with the cables. And again, just curious. Oh, and yeah, there's plenty of playroom up here as well as far as the height goes inside. So yes, you could fit 2 2200 3S batteries in there, but just be aware that is going to make it really, really nose heavy. And also keep in the back of your mind that this wingspan isn't massive, so just go careful with wing loading. Okay, so I'm looking at this model myself. I would probably suggest nothing more than a 2200 3S or maybe a 2200 4S. And again, I don't even know if that ESC is rated for 4S, and the same for the motor. So if you are going to use 4S, do go and check the specifications to make sure you can. And remember, if you do use a 4S back, and assuming everything it does, assuming the ESC will take 4S, and assuming the motor will take it and not cook itself, is that for the extra cell you get 33% extra power. So that does mean potentially an extra third flight time. So sometimes 4S is fantastic because of the higher voltage which you get, and it does mean a longer flight time, but it does require your components to be able to take 4S power. Obviously the ESC is the primary one, and the motor is the second one. So quickly coming back to your comments, and like so, I am going to have a quick slurp, and that's going to be stone cold now. Right, 200, but it's not a drone, Matt. You're absolutely right. It's not a drone. It's an aeroplane. It is an aeroplane. I agree with you, Mr. T. Sorry, ET. Right. Yeah, ET says perhaps a bigger motor on the back. That would level it out. Yeah, I agree with you. Let's have a quick look. ET says tail movements looks a bit short to me. It does look a little bit short fused, if I'm honest. But however, the XUAV clouds looked short fused to me, and that flew absolutely fine. So as we always know, we hold off final judgment until we get this model in the sky. Now I am going to go and wrap up now, and I would like to say a massive thank you for joining me. So I was looking at the chat. I would like to say a massive thank you to you for joining me here live today. Remember, this model was bought out of my own money. And as such, I feel that I can give you an unbiased review on it. It was not a freebie for review. Do keep that in the back of your mind. And we will take her out tomorrow and give her a lob. I'll get her set up, like I said, with a Runcam Mini Swift in the front. I'll see how we do on the 2200 3S. I'd really like for it to do that. But I will check the components to see if they do take 4S. And again, if it does go up in Magic Pixie Smoke, I'm not going to be honest. I'm not going to cry, to be honest, because I'm not going to continue and use that ESC. And I'm already looking at that motor going, no, I want to change it to somewhere else, if I'm brutally honest. And also tomorrow, I'll keep you updated on what I've actually been and done with the video transmitter. Do I elect to hang it out the bottom on the side, or maybe do I elect to bring it out the top? Not entirely sure yet. And also do keep in the back of your mind, I will most likely set this one up with iNav in here as well. That top little section up there is a prime section for us to put a flight control board in there as well. And if you've got no idea what I'm talking about with iNav, if you go and check the playlist tab on my YouTube channel, we do go through a step-by-step guide of how to set up a flight controller. Basically, so you have stabilized flight mode and return to home, and an on-screen display as well, all for about $45, I think. Absolute bargain. And by the way, I use iNav in a shed load of models, and I'm here looking at a couple of models in the background, and it works really, really well for what is essentially $45 worth of flight controller. That's classed as happy days. Right. Let's have a quick look. Camera right saying, "Do not making the wait any easier." Sorry, Martin. I know that we will. Yeah, we'll get it flying as soon as we can. What else was just asking there? Slow-mo FPV says, when we would get to see the wings? Potentially this afternoon, or straight this evening. Well, I've got the Orbit wing here. The AR Stealth wing is supposed to be dispatched today, so hopefully that will be with me by Monday. We will do we will do a shootout between those two flying wings, because I'm going to take the view on it. The S800 was a fantastic wing. Are either of these two wings capable of the same kind of flight characteristics, and are they worth the extra money? Yes or no? And that's the route which we're going to be taking. And both models, they have different manufacturer names, but they're actually made by exactly the same company, which is Sonic Model. This one's called a Zo HD Nano Talon. But the actual company which made it is called Sonic Model. Zo HD is actually just a trading name of them. That's how I found the AR Stealth wing a couple of days back, purely by accident, because I was wondering who on earth is Zo HD, and then I found the trademark records over in China for it. So anyway, coming back onto the topic, Nano Talon. I think it's pretty damn cute, if I'm honest. And right now, again, I'm giving you a gauge right now for, remember, I paid what was 74 quid, $100 for it. Kind of like it. I'm not going to pass any other comments on this one until we get her in the sky, because it doesn't matter how cool it looks on the desk. If it flies like a complete pig, there is no point looking at it. So make sure you're subscribed. We will be taking this one out for a maiden tomorrow. And to be frankly honest, I really am looking forward to it, because it does kind of look the part. Does it fly the part? Don't know. Make sure you press subscribe underneath this video, and I'll keep you up to date with that. If you have any questions or comments about this model, please just ask in the comment section underneath this video. Obviously, you've seen the chitter chatter, which has been going on down here in the live chat. And apologies if I've just been missed any. If you've had a question and I've missed it, I do apologize in the live chat. As you know, that I'm trying to keep an eye on the iPad and present this to you. Don't panic. Please don't take it personally. You can either ask in the comment section underneath this video, or at the very bottom of the video description, there's a link to the Facebook group called Rag the Nuts Off. Go and click on there, ask away. And if you want any additional photographs of this one, please just ask and I can go and take a million photos for you. But as always, we always hold our final judgment until we get this model in the sky. It's not going to take very long to set up. I will go and have a play with the stabilizer to see if that works as well as I expect it to work. If it doesn't, then I won't connect it. Again, you'll find out the results on that tomorrow. But I will go and get it set up, and I'm really looking forward to launching it. Again, just a practical point of view, if I'm launching that, what's the chances of me getting, or you getting your hand stuck in that propeller? Probably about 0 on that one. So yeah, I do really like it. I kind of like it. So from myself, Matt, and the Nano Talon, thank you very much for joining us for this live session, and I'll see you again shortly. And on that note, from the Nano Talon and myself, cheerios!